I absolutely agree. And there was something that you said, I believe, on another podcast, is that I think it was you. You said something to the nature of course, I want my wife here. I don't want her working for another man. Was it you?
Yeah.
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 I love that. Why would I want my wife, another man looking at her every day, or, working so closely with her every day, when no, I want her here. Like, I'm proud of her. I brought her into my life to be part of me, not for her to be part of his life and be working for him. I
Yeah.
love
So
that.
his wife can stay home with their family.
Hmm.
Yeah. So the moment that you take a woman away from the home, it's taking it's taking away for her ability to raise the kids, have an impact, to multiply a man's efforts. Now, I get that there are socioeconomic things in this country that cause people to have two incomes. Okay.
Hmm.
But if you just want to be able to buy a boat and do that vacation 2 years and you have her work, I just don't have respect for that.
Mm.
Because if you call yourself a provider, but you force her to go out of the household, which takes away from the house, takes away from the children, takes away from you and multiplying your efforts.
Hmm.
You're not a provider. Let's get that straight. You're not. And someone else may say this isn't the 1940s. It's like, no, it's 2025.
Yeah.
Okay? It's 2025.
Hmm.
The fact that we know statistically children are better when they're with their mother. uh, Test scores. It doesn't matter what it is. The cortisol levels that are released in small boys 0 to 3 who are not around their mother because they're in daycare, and the neurological effects that it has on them,
Hmm.
the attachment issues that come with both boys and girls when they grow up because they were put in daycare at 6 weeks and then they've been raised by the school system. And then if you call yourself a man, a provider, and a leader, and you want to go on a vacation, but you have to ask the school district if it's okay. Your life as a family revolves around the school system.
Hmm.
I mean, how crazy is this?
It's nuts. And
But
I'm so glad you're bringing
yeah,
this up right now, because it is. And I'm sorry, like, I blame a lot of that also on women wanting to have a bigger voice. And I think, yes, women should have a voice. Trust me, I'm one of them. I like having a voice, though I don't want to push the boundaries of being more than a man. I think it's nice to create like a balance, though I like chivalry. I'm not like a boss babe. Yes,
mhm.
right now I run my own business, but I'm not like a boss babe.
Yeah,
Does that
and the
make sense to you?
the yeah, people don't understand that the fact that what balance is that biologically and biblically we complement one another. We complement one another. That is balance. And yet, first, like you said, I mean, we know through um, through FOIA, Freedom of Information Act, that
Mhm.
the CIA was literally behind the feminist movement. Like
Ugh.
they were pumping so much money, putting agents. The I cannot think of her name, but the lady who led the feminist movement never even got married, never even had her own children, and is telling women that they need to go out and have their own career. Again, we can talk about women who have a career and their place in the home after this, but this is a soapbox I can talk on. Like, yeah, women going out and working for another man, it's mind blowing that any man would encourage her to do that.
Yeah,
It's so mind blowing.
I think it's a choice. If she wants to do some work, like, have her create and inspire her to have her own business. I mean, that's where my
Hmm.
thing was. Whether it was a jewelry making business that I had, like, I always just like to create or, start a coaching business, though to really place her out in the world while raising kids. And I was lucky I got to raise my kids for 8 years prior to my
Mm-hmm.
divorce, though, I was a little bitter that I had to go out into the world and just create for myself. Like that wasn't the life that I planned. I always wanted to just stay with my kids. And that was it. Though in this,
Yeah. There's a reason why oxytocin is rapidly released in women when they are breastfeeding, when they're nursing, when they're literally taking care of their babies. They're flooded with oxytocin for a reason. My wife at one point thought she was going to go back to work. The second that she had our little turd up in her arms, and she was like, oh my gosh, she's like, I don't ever want to go to work. And I was like, thank God. Again, it's 2025. A woman stays home, raises her children from birth to, we'll just say 15, we'll say 16, whatever. Statistically, women have more longevity in the workforce than men. Not saying that they work from 18 to 70 in the workforce, but men usually retire earlier and women have the ability to work longer. Not longer total years, just more into their years. So it's like you raise your children. Guess what? You can then go and volunteer at a children's hospital. Maybe you even be on the board of a nonprofit. You start your own business online selling trinkets, jewelry, tallow, because you're into all natural products. Like there's so much that women can do when their children are at the age that they don't necessarily need mom. And, the man is making the most amount of money in his life is about 45 years old, where he's making the most amount statistically. So then you hire a housekeeper, cleaning the house for the wife, but she's able to volunteer at the kids' school. She's getting fulfilled in other things because the kids are getting older. She's helping at the school. She's doing this. Maybe she does get a job. Maybe she goes and does whatever it is, goes and becomes a nurse.
Yeah.
There's so many things that women can still do. And then you're right back at it because 8 years later, 6 years later, your kid has his first kid or her first kid. Then you're like, grandma's here. Grandma gets to help you with whatever we want because dad doesn't have me working for the attorney, being a secretary still for 40 years. Like, there's so much to that I could talk a long time about.
And I am so grateful that my kids had me for 8 years home. And then I went into, they were in school. That's when I actually opened my hair salon. And I just started there, 3 days a week and then had 2 other people working there. Right. And that was feeding me just fine. Though, then, for me, it was, during divorce where I had to get on my, more of a working atmosphere and put myself out there more, which I've never minded, though, I don't feel today when I hear like women have to be so successful for, successful men to be attracted to them, or when I also see that these successful women are selling their bodies.
Yeah, and statistically, men don't care how much women make. They don't value that at all. Not only statistically from a man's point of view, we do not care. Harvard did a study in 70s, 80s, 90s, 2000, and 2010s. I don't know if they did it again in the 2020s, but men do not care. It's the last item that we look for in a woman.
If you've made it this far, I appreciate you. But if you're really serious about leveling up as a man, as a woman, in your marriage, in your leadership, you need to join my school community. Inside, we go way deeper. Live calls, guest speakers, real conversations with real people who actually want to grow. No fluff, no nonsense, just high-value men and women who want to sharpen each other. Go to school.com/ultimatehusband or search High Value Life. Join us today and let's get to work.